Motorspirit is here in Monaco for the Grand Prix of Monaco Historiques. It's held every 2 years, and it's an opportunity to remember Formula One's past and to experience it a little. The Grand Prix of Monaco Historique is almost Proustian in its remembrance of things past. It is nostalgic myth of Formula One, as remembered in John Frankenheimer's movie Grand Prix, and in the books like Robert Daly's The Cruel Sport, House Bauman and Ken Purdy's The New Matadors. It begins with the cars and drivers, Ferrari, of course, and Ascari, Fangio, and Phil Hill, the British with Moss, then Clark, Graham Hill, John Surtees, the American Dan Gurney, Down Under types Jack Brabham and Bruce McLaren. It's a stellar cast, but there's also a talented supporting cast as well. Like the two Joes, Joe Bonnier and Joe Siffert. The Swedish Bonnier was from a well-off publishing family. Educated at Oxford and in Paris, he spoke several languages. He drove for constructors and was the true gentleman driver, fielding his own Formula One team as a privateer. He's been described as exhibiting the art of living gracefully without extravagance. Joe Siffert was Swiss, with a resemblance to Richard Gere, and was inspiration to Steve McQueen to wear a Heuer watch in his Le Mans movie. Both won a few Grand Prix, but both achieved greater success in sports cars, each in his own right winning the Targa Florio in Porsches. Both died in racing accidents, making poignant Siffert's remark, "Where there is no risk, there is no life." Personal safety and risk was part of the racing equation then, and not for prime time. But racing doesn't have to be that way. Modern racing requires skill and competency, physical and mental training to make the most out of very complicated cars. Monaco has always had a special desirability. The sun, the sea, the expensive cars and yachts, exclusive hotels and beautiful people. An enviable way of life of aristocrats, artists, rogues, and rascals. The first winner in 1929 was the mysterious William Grover Williams in a Bugatti 35. Louis Chiron, born in Monaco, won the race in 1931 and was quite the focus of admiring ladies and involved in the race till his death in 1979. The weekend has its auctions. Bonham's is at the remote Villa Vichy overlooking Monaco. To physically preview the cars, you need to buy a €50 catalog. There are a few star cars, but most are from the back pages of Hemmings. On the other hand, Sotheby's is more accessible at the Forum Grimaldi. The choice and condition of the cars is excellent, and I would have taken home this Alfa Sprint. Was it the first time that you drove the Monaco course? What was it? What did it feel like?
This morning.
Really?
It was my first time here. Yeah. So I've been racing a few years now, 3 or 4 years, but first time in the Monaco Historique. It's quite mesmerising going through the roads with the cages either side and the side walls. It's quite and the barriers. very mesmerising, but it's fantastic fun actually. You just can't get anything wrong. If you get something wrong, you'll pay for it. As a friend said to me, it's actually a very safe circuit because it's so contained, but it's one where you can ding your car quite easily. Tabac is great because you're coming up there. It looks very narrow. It's quite blind. But actually it's quite a quick corner, so that's a great fun. I think I quite enjoyed that one, probably more than any other. Yeah, how those guys pass each other is the incredible thing, because it is so narrow. Even with these cars, you've got to be careful, because it's not the width, it's the fact that because the course weaves, the cars are weaving around on the road, and you've got to, you know, how they pick their spot to pass when you're in the wide F1 cars. It's pretty impressive, I have to say.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, thank you very much.
That's all right. You're welcome.
Drive carefully.
Thank you very much.
di GP, quella che insomma.
Contemporary street circuits look generic. 80% of Monaco is similar to how it looked in 1929, and Monaco has the mythic X factor: extravagance, exclusive, excellence. It's the archetype of a Mediterranean luxury resort. These days, there are many places where you can see old race cars race. But to see them in Monaco, on their original home turf, that is time travel. The atmosphere around the Historiques is not as crowded as the Grand Prix. The Grand Prix can be quite the scene. It's a happening. The Historiques is a holiday. Relax, see some racing in the morning, have lunch, take it easy, all to the soundtrack of classic racing cars.
Six passes in that group, which is a great thing in the first half of the second.